Okay, so let's do another problem. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, so here we have a question where you basically give an answer. They don't have choices here, so it's just going to be a number answer that we get, right? So it says, what is the value of 4 to the 1/2 times 8 to the 1/3 times 16 to the -1/4, right? So it looks like we have some exponents, right? We have some fraction exponents, right? So we're going to be dealing with some properties with exponents and the fractional exponents actually. So now what I would do with this is I would just have to you'd have to kind of know how to sort of play around with these things. But one thing that hopefully you would notice is that you have these bases here, the 4, the 8, and the 16. Well, they can all be created by taking exponents of 2, right? For instance, 4 would be 2 squared, right? 2 times 2 is 4, and 8 could be 8 times 2 to the 3rd, right? Same thing with 16. 16 can be 2 to the 4th, right? So that's what I would start off by doing that, right? So I would just write all these down, right? So we have 4 to the 1/2, right? Times 8 to the 1/3 times 16 to the -1/4, right? So now instead of 4, I'm going to write 2 squared, right? So let me just put in parentheses 2 squared, and then that raised to the 1/2, right? Times, instead of 8, I'll put 2 to the 3rd, right? So 2 to the 3rd raised to the 1/3. And then, I'm sorry, let me just make that more clear. Raised to the 1/3. And then this times, instead of 16, I'm going to put 2 to the 4th, right? 2 to the 4th raised to the -1/4, right? So basically, so now when you are raising an exponent to another exponent, what you wind up doing is you multiply the exponents, right? So 2 times 1/2 winds up being just 1, right? So you get 2 to the 1, well, I'll just write 2. So 2 times, same thing with this, 2 to the 3rd, 3 times 1/3 just winds up being 1. So that's just going to wind up being 2. And then times, well, 2 to the 4th. So that's going to wind up being 4 times the 4th is 1, but it's a negative. It's times a -1/4. So it's going to wind up being 2 to the -1, right? Right. So really what this changes into is you have 2 times 2, right? And then this 2 to the -1, that winds up putting the base into the denominator, right? So the 2 goes down into the denominator. And then I guess what would happen is that you have a 2 and a 2, and they will cancel out, and you're just left with 2. So the answer to this is 2, and we're done with this problem. Okay, so we did a problem here. We did another problem, and we are done.